Welcome. In a previous video I went over the procedure to set up an X server on Windows Subsystem for Linux 2. I'll put a link below to that video, and I'll also put a link below to my Windows playlist where you can find some of my previous videos. So in this video I'm going to talk about setting up an Ubuntu desktop on this system. So I currently have Windows 10 here, I have an X server installed, and I have Windows Subsystem for Linux 2 installed with Ubuntu instance. So to get started I want to open up my X server, so I can click X launch here, or I can go to my start menu and I can scroll down to Xserve. I'll click that and then I'll click on X launch there. I'll choose multiple windows, I'll hit next. I'll leave the default here, and on this one I'll choose the defaults, but I'll click disable access control also. I'll hit next and then I'll hit finish. Now I'll go down into my search and I'll just type WSL to launch into my Windows Subsystem for Linux. Okay, so before I get started in this, I'll update the system, so I'll type sudo space apt space update. Then I'll type space ampersand ampersand space sudo space apt space upgrade space -y, and I'll hit enter. It'll ask me for my password, so I'll type that in, and now it will update. So I'll put a link below to my website where you can find the commands I'm typing in. Okay, everything's up to date. I'll clear my screen. So I need to find out the Windows IP address, so I'll type cat space /etc/resolve.conf, and there's no E on resolve there. And this is the IP address we're interested in. So now I want to type export space display equals, and I'll select this IP address and I'll right click on it, then I'll right click here and that will copy and paste it. Then I want to type :0.0. I'll hit enter. Next I'll type export space, and in all caps I'll type libgl underscore always, oops, accidentally hit return there, always underscore indirect equals 1. I'll hit enter. So now I should be able to type something like xcalc, and here we have the calculator come up. Okay, I'll clear my screen. So now I'm ready to install the desktop environment, so I'll type sudo space apt space install space, and I'll type Ubuntu -desktop. So this will install the Xfce desktop environment, which is kind of a lightweight desktop. So I'll hit enter here. You see we have to download 594 megabytes, so I'll hit yes, and I'll hit go, and this will download and install those packages. Okay, so it's asking me to choose a display manager, so I'll press the down arrow to light DM and I'll hit enter. Okay, that's finished up, so I'll clear my screen. So now I'll type Xfce4-session, and I'll hit enter, and this will open up the desktop environment. Okay, there we go. Oh, and I sped up the video while it was installing and it took about 15 minutes, I think. So we have an error message here. It says, sorry, the application Blue Man applet has stopped unexpectedly. And software updater, I'll just say don't send on those. So let's go into the home, downloads. Let's see, I mean there's not going to be anything on here, we just created it. I'll right click here, go down to applications. Let's see what we have. We have GIMP. Looks like we had an error there that killed it, so let's go back in. Okay, so this seems to have hung for some reason, so I'm just going to exit out of here. Okay, and the X server looks like it stopped also, so I'll start this back up. So this just kind of demonstrates that this isn't probably the most reliable way to run Ubuntu. So I'll open up my history here, then I can retype these commands in. So if you type history, it will list these out, and if I want to run one of these, I'll just do Shift-1, which is exclamation point, and then I'll find the line I want to run, which is 52. I'll hit enter and it will run that command again, and I want to run 54 also. Okay, and then I guess 59, so I'll do that too. Okay, have the error messages again. I'll say don't send, don't send. There's the desktop again. I'll right click, go to applications. I'll try and open up something smaller now, maybe terminal emulator. There we go. Okay, that was kind of slow. Let's try that again. Maybe it's caching it now. That's slow again. So this computer is a Core i5. It's from 2014. It does have 16 gig of RAM and a SSD in it, so it should run this fast. It's probably something isn't optimized. Exit out of here. Open a web browser. That came up relatively quick. I'll open up LibreOffice Calc, which is a spreadsheet. Okay, so that is not running very well. Whoa. Okay, so that killed it. So as I mentioned in my Xserver video, if there's software that runs on Windows and Linux, you're going to have a better experience running it in Windows. Okay, so this time instead of starting the whole Windows subsystem for Linux, I just restarted the Xserver, and that seems like it's going to bring it back up. And there could be different windowing systems like GNOME that would work better with this. I haven't tried all of them. So there's our Linux desktop. As you can see, it doesn't run great, but it depends on what you're doing. So if you have some Linux software you want to run, you could try this out. If it doesn't work well, you could either dual boot your machine, and I have some videos on that you can find in my playlist. You could also run a traditional virtual machine like VirtualBox and run Linux inside of that, and that should run incredibly stable. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.